Hey kiddos, it's Mrs. McDaniel. We're going to look at a couple problems for week 8, day 1. So you have 2 review sheets and some word problems to solve. So first thing that I want to point out is make sure that you write your name on your paper so that I give you the credit that you deserve. So make sure you write your name. And then let's look at number 1. Number 1 says add 33 plus 54. Now you can see that we have tens and we have ones, and we always start adding in the ones column. So 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 plus 5 is 8, so our sum is 87. Now, if you want to show me your work is somewhere over here, that's fine. Make sure you come over here to the answer column and write 87 for number 1. Now let's skip down to number 3. It says to subtract, so we're going to do 82 minus 71. Once again, we have tens and 1, so we always start subtracting in the ones column. We have 2 minus 1, bigger numbers on top. So we can take 2 minus 1, which is 1, 8 minus 7, bigger numbers on top. 8 minus 7 is 1, so the difference is 11. So this is number 3, so I want to make sure I go to number 3 and put my difference of 11. Now, boys and girls, we're going to skip down to number 7. And it says name this shape. Now we did do geometry before we left, so let's go ahead. We know that we name polygons by counting their sides. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this shape has 5 sides, which would also mean that it has 5 angles. And we remember the polygon that has 5 sides and 5 angles is a pentagon. So you would go to number 5 and write pentagon. This is page 2 of day 1. Now 1, 2 you're going to add, 3 and 4 you are going to subtract, and you are all really good at adding and subtraction. So we are going to move on to number 5, and this says find the difference between 54 and 62. So you really need to think back at that keyword difference and think about what operation that keyword gives you the clue for. And if you recall, the answer to a subtraction problem is called the difference. So we want to put our larger number on top, 62, minus 54. And here we have tens and we have ones, and we always start in the ones column. We have 2 minus 4. Now our bigger number is on the bottom, so we have big bottom regroup. So we need to come over to our tens column. We used to have 6 tens, but now we're going to have 5 tens. We're going to bring that 10 and break it apart into 10 little ones. Now we already had 2 little ones, so now we have 12 little ones. So 12 minus 4 is 8, and we have 5 minus 5, which is 0, so our difference is 8. So this is number 5, so we want to make sure we put it in the correct answer spot. So we would write 8 as our difference. Now let's look down to number 7. This says how many quadrilaterals. Now I need you to remember quadrilateral, the prefix quad, we think of our four-wheeler. So we know that quad means 4, so we need to look at these shapes and figure out which ones have 4 sides. So we need to look at these shapes, count how many sides it has. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be a quad. Here's a circle, so we know that's not a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be a quad. Circle, triangle. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here would be another quad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here would be another quad. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another quadrilateral. Circle, nope. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another quadrilateral, circle, and a triangle. So we would just have to count how many quadrilaterals we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would go number 7. and put the number 6 because there are 6 quadrilaterals. All right, so for day 1, you have 5 word problems to solve. So let's take a look at the first one together. The first one says, Will is driving 412 miles to the beach. He stopped at a rest stop after driving 148 miles. How many miles does he have left to drive? Now we know when we come to a word problem, we use the strategy CUBS. So we want to circle our question, which is, how many miles does he have left to drive? We want to circle our essential numbers. 412 is our total. And here we have another essential number, 148. And then we want to find our label. And we are talking about miles. So miles will be our label. Next, we want to understand the operation. So we have our total here, which is 412, and he already drove 148. So we're trying to figure out how many he has left. So we're going to take our total. We're going to subtract the miles that he already drove, and that will tell us how many are left that he still needs to drive. So here we have hundreds, tens, and ones. And we always start in the ones column. So we have 2 minus 8. Our bigger number is on the bottom. So we have big bottom, regroup, come over to the tens. We used to have 1 10, now we are not going to have any. And we're going to bring that 10, we're going to break it apart into 10 little ones plus the 2 that we already had. So now we have 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. Go to our tens column, we have 0 minus 4. Our bigger number is on the bottom, so big bottom, regroup, come over to the hundreds column. Used to have 4 hundreds, now we only have 3. We're going to take that hundreds block, we're going to break it into 10 tens. So we didn't have any tens, but now we have 10 tens. So 10 minus 4 is 6. And then we have our hundreds column, 3 minus 1, bigger number is on the top. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So this tells us that we have 264 more miles left to drive. And make sure that you include your label. And remember, the strategy, you can always check your subtraction with addition.